arrived in Krakow airport, just waiting for my friends to get in from London. So I got in at 9:30 and I don't get here until 11:45. So time's going quite quickly actually. It's now, I think it's like 5 to 11. So I'm just sitting around, got some charge on my phone, just reading my book, managing finally to get through this. So yeah, just killing some time before we meet up and hit the road for our final destination. Next day, after a very good night's sleep, so we got in at about like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and now is early afternoon. I'm up, I'm dressed. The day here is a little bit overcast, but it's not dreary or anything like that, and we're getting spells of sunshine. So today is going to be a bit of a slower day. So woke up, matcha and a smoothie, which I was so craving this morning. The smoothie from the place in town, they make it with aloe vera, and that just makes such a difference. So it hasn't got that kind of creamy, heavy dairy feeling to a smoothie. It's much lighter. Travel was really smooth, and I highly recommend the Ember bus journey. It was just, yeah, really seamless. And I don't know if I said that to you in the earlier clip, but you get your tram ticket in with your bus price. So yeah, that was super easy. I got to the airport early, but I don't mind that so much. I really don't like to be in a rush and stressed out, basically, and it gave me a chance just to potter around. I wasn't really out to be buying anything in the airport, just literally to have a mosey. And I have to say, obviously there's the usual kind of commercial shops in Edinburgh Airport, but I really think the winners are the Scottish wool and cashmere brands. So beautifully done. I was really tempted by some of the cashmere and 100% wool bits in the, I can't remember what they're called, Edinburgh something. Anyway, you would have seen the name of it on the screen. But yeah, I was really tempted by a few bits there. And the Broa, is that what it's called? Brora? Scottish cashmere. They are also really nice. I also, for the first time, smelt the Penhaligon's perfumes, which are super expensive. I've heard so much about them. In the fragrance shop that's outside of the duty free, they had Amage, they had Diptyque, they had Penhaligon's, and there was another one in there, I can't remember what it was. So really kind of high-end scents. And at first the lady offered me to smell the Penhaligon's, and out of kind of interest I was, yeah, smelled the scents, and I felt all of them were really just overwhelming. I didn't like any of them, basically. The lady was like speaking to me about what kind of scents I usually like. She said the favourite, and I thought that she meant that basically it is a favourite, but no, that's the name of the scent, is the favourite. And she sprayed it on my wrist, and at first I was like, whoa, no, that's too much. I really don't like the way that smells. And then I walked away and I was pottering about the shops, and then I just kept getting like a really nice whiff, and it was just, yeah, really beautiful smell. And then I realised it was the way that scent had settled on my skin. Probably one of the nicest scents I've ever had on, which is really interesting, because on the first kind of impression of when it was initially sprayed, I thought it was just horrible. But it developed really nicely. So expensive of a scent, so I don't think it's anything I'll be on a rush out to get, but it was just interesting to smell them. So I picked up 2 little bits in the duty free, but they were things that I was needing. One being a travel size of the roller lash, because I brought my roller lash with me, but I've got a feeling that it's going to run out. Not that I'm wearing makeup every day. I don't wear a lot of makeup at home, and I generally don't wear I just don't wear makeup on a daily basis, but I really have a feeling that that's going to run out soon. And I also picked up, my sister did my nails before I left, which is very unusual for me. I'm not really a nail person, but she did them for me because my hands were looking a bit of a mess. And I realised that I'm here for 10 days and my nails are going to chip pretty soon. So when I was passing by, I found this OPI what's the name of it? It's the camera's not going to focus on the name or anything, so I will pop it on the screen rather than trying to butcher the name. But it looked very similar to the one that I've got on my nails, so I thought that that would be handy. It's been a very, very long time since I've worn or bought any kind of nail polish, but I think that's quite durable, and if I don't use it, then I know even my sister or my niece will use that. So the only things that I bought, which is quite good. I also stopped into Nero for a coffee, and they had, I was really excited to see that they had an oat honey latte on the menu, but I did think to ask before I ordered it whether the honey was real honey or a syrup. And just kind of a heads up, if you just order it straight off the menu, it is a syrup. That's not real honey that they use in there. So I'm really glad that I asked, because they did have the option that I could switch it out for real honey, which I did. So if you're like me and you don't react well to those syrups, and you prefer to sweeten anything with just honey, then yeah, make sure you ask to switch it out for real honey, because yeah, I thought that that was quite disappointing actually. It's such a simple thing. Why would we need to use a syrup instead of just using real honey? It's just mind-boggling. So yeah, I stopped for a coffee. This was just, it was horrendous actually. When it's like when you kind of go out of your normal bubble, and I'm quite specific about where I buy things from, like food and coffee. I don't generally go to big chains, so you'll know I don't drink a lot of coffee anymore. But if I do really fancy one, which is very occasionally and was actually in one of the last vlogs, I'll go to 88, which is in my own small town, or I go to another, or if I'm out and about and I'm eating lunch, I'm generally eating in small places and buying coffee from there. So I'm very kind of out of touch with mainstream coffee place prices. This was just horrendous. £5.40 for a coffee. Your bog standard mainstream big brand coffee, £5.40. Who on earth has the money to be buying these on a regular basis? I know, like when I lived in London, there were people that would be buying coffee every single day, and sometimes more than one a day. Who has the money to be doing that? That's just absolutely horrendous. And then to find out that actually, if you don't ask, you're not even getting real honey in an oat honey latte. This is just, yeah, mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. Another thing that was really, I'm in a bit of kind of like a price rant now, but a bottle of water, ridiculous. Sweets ever. Imagine the taste of Malteser, but soft and not crispy. That's basically what that is. Another super sunny, glorious day. Today is day 5. Yeah, 5. So obviously it's been some time since I updated you. I've been catching some clips along the way, just of like food, and yeah, there's been a lot of food, good food being had. And I actually, we actually went go-karting, not yesterday, day before, which was really good fun. And I think we're going to go again I've got a score to beat. That was really, really good fun. I don't actually remember if I have ever been in a go-kart before then. I know we did a lot of bumper cars as kids, and did that Legoland drivers school thing, but I don't actually know if I've ever been on go-karts before then. You can rely on me to come across a crystal shop everywhere. I don't think any trip anywhere is complete if I don't find the local crystal shop. And really the first kind of few days we've really been taking it kind of easy, and just enjoying the good weather. I'm climatised to Scotland, so it's, to me, the weather is super, super hot, and the thought of wearing like jeans or like long leggings or anything like that is just like, oh my god, it's just too much. But I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. So yeah, the short that I posted was, and actually the travel with me video was Edinburgh to Krakow, but I'm not actually staying in Krakow, although I have stayed there before. So if you're visiting and you want kind of like a nice simple hotel with good service, really nice people, then I highly recommend the Hotel Lavender. I've stayed there twice, and actually the first time I stayed there I was rescued from an Airbnb host who was a total maniac. So the Hotel Lavender was a lifesaver, and like I said, I've been back there since. Really nice place to visit. So if you're looking for somewhere that's relatively inexpensive, super nice, and really nice people there, then I highly recommend the Hotel Lavender. You know, there's quite a few excursions that actually leave from there. So when I was here in September, and we actually did the salt mines, which I highly recommend, bearing in mind it's a lot of walking and a lot of stairs. But actually, having said that, I was here in September with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle has very bad knees, and he's got arthritis, and he can get a lot of fluid build up on his knees. But he managed the stairs. It's like 600 steps, I think it is, 600 or 800 to in and around the salt mine. He managed that, and he actually found, probably because of the salt in the air and the movement and things like that, that the fluid around his knee was really kind of, but yeah, basically it completely got rid of that. And I don't think it's actually reoccurred. I'll have to ask him, but definitely it hadn't reoccurred like for a few months afterwards. And obviously we were going into the winter, which is usually really challenging time for people who have got arthritis. So yeah, highly recommend the salt mines. Also did what they call the graduation tower, which is like a brine tower. You can go and breathe in the salt, sit by it and breathe in the salt. I'll put a picture on screen if you don't know what I'm talking about. Highly recommend that as well. We did both on the same day because they were relatively close by. And when we were here last year, we also went to Auschwitz and Birkenau. Again, highly recommend. There were a lot of people there who were doing like selfies and videos and things like that, which is just not something that I really feel comfortable with. Yeah, I kind of feel split about that. I know that helps to promote it and more people will go there and see it, but I just kind of, yeah, it didn't sit really well with me taking photos and videos in a place where, yeah, something so tragic has happened. So yeah, but highly recommend going there. I think it's a really important place to go and visit, especially in today's society. It's important that we don't kind of remove ourselves from the realities of these things. But anyway, today's going to be kind of much of the same. I'm going to quickly show you this little veg patch that we dug this time last year, just randomly, spontaneously. So you guys know I'm really, I like the idea of growing your own food, and just trying to do little bits and bobs. Last year, randomly, we just had a feeling that we wanted to grow crops. All of this was grassed over, and when I say we, I mean me and my friends. We just decided that actually, yeah, this looks like a good space. These two tree trunks are already here. It's like, yeah, that makes a good edge for a veg patch. So we basically manually, one day it was super hot like this, we decided with hand tools just to basically dig this all out and plant loads of crops in there. And it did really well. So last year we had in there courgette, tomatoes, herbs, leeks, carrots. Yeah, it did really well. It was basically just left and very minimal kind of tending to, and it did really well. So There are leeks still left over from last year. There is some, nothing else is planted in here at the minute. It's just started to be kind of turned over and softened again so that we can sow. There's some rosemary over there, some dill. So yeah, minimal going on at the moment, but you can see where it started to be turned over. Also, maybe it's just me because I visit here more frequently now. But is it just me, or is Krakow becoming a really popular destination to visit, especially with Scots? I feel like in the last year, 18 months, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they are visiting or planning a visit or something like that, which I don't feel like I was hearing that much before. I feel like it's become really popular. The last two times didn't fly in August, it would have been April last year. So these last two Aprils, both times on my flight, on both flights I had a hen and a stag do flying out with me. I feel like compared to, I'm not saying like I'm the best, I'm not saying I'm like the most well-travelled person in the world, but I have been to quite, a little collection of destinations, and there are places that I've sort of revisited and visited quite frequently. There's just something about Poland that I really like, and I'm kind of drawn to. And I also feel like compared to other places that I've been, especially when it comes to oh my gosh, it's bug's life at the moment, especially compared to other places that I've been, especially when it comes to sweets, like everybody knows I've got a sweet tooth. I feel like there's much more of an emphasis on the actual flavors in that food rather than the actual flavors in that sweet, whatever it's meant to be. Like, let's say it's meant to be kind of pistachio, there's an emphasis on being able to taste the pistachio, if that makes sense. A lot of the time you get something and it's supposed to be like a pistachio cake, and all you can taste is sugar, and it's just green with some pistachios on top, and there's actually no pistachio flavour to it. And there's nothing more disappointing to me than a bad meal. It really kind of just impacts me for the rest of the day if I've had a bad meal and I didn't enjoy it and I've wasted my money. The other thing is as well, and maybe it's because of the way that I'm visiting. Obviously I'm visiting with friends and staying with them, and they've obviously already got that kind of local knowledge, local connections, that kind of thing. But I feel like of all the places that I've visited and the places that I've been to regularly and again, Greece being one of them. I used to visit Greece quite a lot, but I never really felt like I could imagine myself living in those places. Holiday homing maybe, but not living. Whereas I really get the sense that if I was looking to kind of relocate to another country, I think, yeah, this would be the one that I would think, yeah, I could definitely live there. I can see myself living there. At least like a 50-50 kind of living. That would be really cool. That's not me saying that I've got plans to do that. I'm just, imagining. You get kind of like a sense of life and whether you feel you could blend. Obviously my Polish would need to be much better. At the moment it's sort of like childlike, baby-like I should say, but I'm working on it. Every time I visit, my vocabulary gets a bit wider. It's not quick, but yeah, it builds a little bit. Oh, the other thing that I really wanted to say is that there is a Roma Gypsy museum here that I really want to visit. So I'm hoping we'll fit that in this trip and I'll be able to take you along with me. Good finds, relatively local kombucha with no rubbish in it, which is super important. soil turned over, seed sown. Little area for raspberry plants. I've landed back in Edinburgh now. I'm just waiting for my tram to Ingliston and then back on the Ember. I'm not actually on the tram, I'm in this little kind of, it's like a stationary tram basically, where you can get tickets from and sit down. So just coming here because I've definitely got a little bit of a shock at the weather change. Early morning start, and there's nothing more humbling than the airport security check. The thing that you put your passport into and then your face comes up on the screen, that will tell you how tired you really look, no matter what you tell yourself. So yeah, that was a humbling moment. Popped into Pret to get a coconut latte while I'm waiting. I've got myself quite a little wait here. It's 1 o'clock and my tram isn't until 2 o'clock. I landed at 12:30, but actually I think that this was the earliest option available. Something I really hate is being in a rush. I don't like running for anything. But you know what, I think this actually comes from growing up and probably like 70% of the bus drivers waiting to see you run and then closing the doors last minute and driving off. I think I'm scarred for life. So now I hate to rush. I'm not running for anything. I'm not running for a bus, I'm not running for a tram, train, nothing. I would rather be super early and just plan with lots of time. So waiting here and just passing the time now. I'm so excited to get home and see my dogs. There's always like a part of traveling where I love to go and visit new places and see new things. Obviously weather is always a bonus. But there's always a part of me that doesn't like to leave my home, and that really started when I moved out of family home. I think it's that kind of, your responsibility of being at home always sits in the back of your head, especially having pets and having to leave them behind. I really don't like that. So I had a lovely time. It was really bittersweet to be leaving, especially coming back to a gloomy day in Scotland. Nonetheless, tomorrow is a work day, so I don't think I'll actually reach the house until 5 o'clock-ish. So I've got a long day of travel. The Ember bus is really much more comfortable than the other coaches I found. It's just so handy that it can drop me off in Forfar rather than having to get to Dundee to get Stagecoach, I think was the other ones that I was using before. This just makes life so much easier, and actually the Ember buses are a bit more comfortable. This is not like an ad for Ember bus, by the way. And they also have the charging points, which is really handy. I've been caught short a few times on travel days with batteries, so the charging points are a massive plus. But anyway, I think I will sign this video off here, and I shall see you in my next vlog, which will be, you know, back to normal, back to Scottish style local area vlogs. Okay, so blonde moment. Actually, all the trams are the same.